We're going to stick with horror, though. This one is about as far tonally from Ennis Main as possible while still somewhat staying within the genre. Let the Wrong One In is a new Irish comedy horror written and directed by Conor McMahon, which is in cinemas now. The movie stars Carl Royce and Owen Duffy as brothers Matt and Deco, Deco being the black sheep of the family, having been kicked out due to his addictions, but still occasionally guilt trips Matt into going along with his schemes. Deco arrives at Matt's door in a bad way one morning, having been bitten in a nightclub the night beforehand, melting under the sun and retching at the smell of garlic chips. Quickly, Matt joins the dots and realizes his brother has been turned into a vampire, and from there, hilarity ensues. Or at least that's the idea. It arrives during a particularly good run for Irish cinematic releases. In the last 12 months alone, we've had some absolute heavyweights with the likes of On Colleen Kuhn, Belfast, and You Are Not My Mother. Could this continue that momentum? No, is the answer. No, it really could not. No. This movie tries to be Shaun of the Dead with vampires. Really, it's just some of the cast of Kin and Red Rock being silly billies pretending to be vampires, except they're saying Dublin slang in a setting we're not used to hearing Dublin slang. This isn't so much young offenders as offensively juvenile. Usually when these films fail, it's because it's a 2-minute comedy sketch idea that can't really last the course of a movie. But the problem is, this doesn't even have a funny idea at the core of it. I imagine the original drafts of this movie had a whiteboard that said vampires, but in Dublin, question mark, question mark, question mark, and profit. Put it this way, at one stage you've got Adrian Kennedy in the background as a cameo on the radio. That's the level of humor we're talking about here. It's kind of local Dublin radio doing silly voices, but not actually making jokes and just saying Dublin catchphrases. It's like, oh, Jesus, bleeding hell, you the neck of you, leave it bleeding out. What? The movie is so bad that it actually got me suspicious that esteemed actor Anthony Head has done something horrific, because the only way he should be lending his name to a project like this is if he'd been badly blackmailed into doing so. The special effects look like they were done on a free phone app. I'd say the entire thing looks like it's made out of a back garden, but it legitimately was. Literally, my back garden, around 5 minutes from where I'm recording this right now, I can literally look out the window here and I can see the nightclub that they shot the movie in. So the reality is, with that all in mind, I wanted to like this. I know people who are in this movie. Sorry, Justy, but we can do better now. We shouldn't be congratulating ourselves just because we're Irish and we made a movie. Last year, You Are Not My Mother became a Netflix cult favorite. It's legitimately one of my favorite horror movies ever, and it's on a similar budget. Irish movies, like I said, don't need to get just points because they're Irish. Jokes aren't funny just because you make funny noises and say silly words like Willy. This legitimately didn't get one laugh in the cinema I was in the entire movie. It was actually embarrassing and mortifying for us all to be there. And I'm sure everyone involved worked hard, and I don't have anything against them. I don't want to attack this movie. Like I said, I went in liking and wanting to support this movie, but someone before this point should have stepped in and said no to the people who made this and actually looked over it and said, are we sure this is a good idea? They didn't, so here we are. This is going to be in the running for one of the worst movies I've seen this year.